Sounds good.
Okay, so Ankit, before we begin, can you please give a brief intro about yourself?
So, as you know, I'm Ankit Suchal. Basically, I'm from Haryana. I started out my career as an entrepreneur 5 years back. I'm a college dropout. I did go to college, and I decided to drop out of college in first year itself because I thought conventional way of making your career is not a thing I would like to do. Right. So instead of going to college, what I did, I started working when I was about 19 years old, and I did multiple jobs in multiple profiles because I was very clear from right from very beginning that I would want to be an entrepreneur someday, and I decided to do jobs in multiple profiles, multiple domains, so that I could gather all the experience which anyone might need to run an organization. So I started working as an HR. I did some customer service. I worked in sales and business development. So this is how I started. And late 2015, I thought I decided to start something of my own. And as we all know, since 2014, e-commerce is something which was growing very fast in India, and the scope of e-commerce surely looks very bright even today itself. So it is one wonderful area where you can probably make and build companies if you want to. So I started doing some e-commerce. I started trading in health and nutritional supplements initially. That's what I did. And after a year's time, I did make a brand of my own, which was into skincare. The name of the brand was Artha Naturals. We did pretty well. We managed to crack a number of categories wherein we were bestsellers on marketplaces like Amazon and Flipkart. But because of some moral disputes, I took an exit out of it because I had some moral disputes with my partners and with the founder of the company. And afterwards, I founded another brand named Tamra Botanicals. The idea of it is Tamra. Basically, Tamra is the Sanskrit word which means copper in English. And the idea was to make skincare using copper-based ingredients. That's what I did. We were featured by number of newspapers, number of magazines in initial 6 months itself. But again, call it a bad luck or I don't know what to call it. As soon as I launched, just after 2 months, we were hit by COVID. And yes, that's about my journey. Now I'm working on another startup named Affodi. It is a healthcare startup wherein I'm planning to build an ecosystem wherein you can probably go to an app, book your appointments with the doctor, buy your medicines from the same app, book your diagnostic tests from the same app. You can keep your patient records. You can manage your reports. So everything all under one roof. This is the idea of it. And the kind of business model and revenue model I've been working on, it suggests that if we manage to crack this, we will be able to provide all the services at minimum of 30 to 40% affordable prices than the market standards. So this is what I'm working on. I'm building a team for the company. I've already found a co-founder who's going to take care of business and strategical part of it. And I'm still looking for a tech co-founder. Once we have a team in place, it might take, as per estimates, it might take for us to hit the market at least 6 to 9 months, and hopefully you will be able to see us in the market.
So when you decided to drop out of college, didn't you face any restriction from parents, relative, or anyone?
See, first of all, uh, I would like to tell you, it is never a suggestion from my side that you should drop out of college. You need to have a particular mindset if you want to drop out of college, and you need to find out other ways to develop your skills, get to get knowledge about the things, to get comfortable with the things which you haven't even heard of, right? So as an entrepreneur, when I was 20 years old, I just had an idea in my mind that I would want to pursue business, and I would want to start do some kind of startup of my own. And I did not know anything about startup ecosystem. I might have dropped out of college, but trust me, since last 10 years, I study for at least 4 hours a day, which continues up till now. Even today, when I'll go back home, I have some lectures to attend. I've attended lectures from MIT, Harvard, Cambridge. So this is what I do. Being an entrepreneur, you have to learn continuously, right? So it is up to the individual what kind of path they would want to take. Obviously college does helps, but it wasn't for me, if you ask me. And yes, in some cases I also feel like that going to college would have accelerated the things. uh, for example, there are a few things which I feel like I should have studied 5 years back or maybe 8 years back, जो मैं अभी तक नहीं पढ़ पाया. But it's a learning journey, and I like to learn about things as it comes along and as I face the problems. So uh, it is never suggested to drop out of college. It has to be your individual, well thought of decision.
So what were you studying when you dropped out?
I was doing bachelor's in commerce from Delhi University.
So in the first year you dropped out. Okay, so before dropping out, did you had any startup idea in your mind, or after dropping out you thought of the startup idea?
No, when I dropped out, the idea was to do number of jobs in different profiles, get experience of all the departments. That is the reason I have a diverse experience of different departments. I started with customer service. I worked in HR. I worked in marketing. I worked in branding. I worked in sales. This is what I did. I was never out there to make a career in jobs itself, or make a career in while working for someone else, some other company. The idea was always to gather a lot of experience of different departments, so that you know how organizational structures works out for you and how can you build your own company. So I believe, except for finance, I've worked in every possible department and an organization can have.
So you dropped out so that you can gain more work experience, but you could have done with your college studies also, right?
Yes, I could have done it with my college studies also, but my colleges were regular, and I wanted to gather some practical experience, I would say. So this was the mindset, and I've majorly worked in startups only. Like I've worked with 5 different startups all along, all together up till now, and I think there's nothing to regret about it. Anything I'm doing today, it is just because of that.
So without any college degree, how did they allow you?
I beg your pardon?
What I'm saying is that you work for several startup, right? So without any college degree, how did they employ you? Because I thought that without any degree, you won't get any job anywhere.
I think it is very much possible, as if you have skills. I think it is very much possible to do jobs in different departments, especially when it comes to startups. Startups only look for the kind of skills they are looking for, and if you are skillful enough, I believe it is pretty easy to find a job in a startup.
So you are
However, I started off with a reference of mine. One of my relative did have a company of his own, and that is how I started. But afterwards, when I gathered experience of 1.5 year, it was pretty easy for me to find any job.
So you have experience in almost every field, right? For example, digital marketing, coding, graphic design, anything, all kind of skill you have experience.
Not really graphic designing. I'm saying I've experienced in different departments, right? It could be possible, for example, in branding, there's strategical part. Then branding may you need to know about graphic designing also. So I have experience in almost all the strategical aspects of all the departments. I've worked on strategies majorly.
So is any of your startup profitable right now?
My first startup was profitable, but because of moral issues, I had to take an exit. And second startup, as I told you, the moment I launched, just after 2 months, COVID hit, and we sadly we ran out of funds, and there weren't a lot of investments out there in the market. So not yet, but this is how the journey is. If you want to be a successful entrepreneur, every failure is a step towards your success. This is what I believe in, and I believe this is what everyone should believe in who aspire to be an entrepreneur. You are a failure when the day you give up.
Exactly. So when you started your business or when you started your startup, did you had any kind of backup plan? For example, if this startup doesn't work out, then I would get this job again. Any kind of anything to fall back on? Like Indian parents say that we should have a backup plan. Did you had any backup plan, or do or die mentality?
Honestly, if you ask me, I'm someone who like to take impulsive decisions, and I did not have any backup plan, but it is always suggested. Since my finances, when it comes to family finances, we are pretty good with it. So I don't really have to think a lot about having a backup, or what if the startup uh, goes the other way around. So I really don't think about it, but it is always good to have a mitigation strategy also.
Okay, okay, that's good. So you are from a business background.
Again, I would like to give a strong disclaimer. It is always good to have a mitigation strategy. Uh, Take inspirations from me, but only the things I'm good at. So not having a backup strategy isn't something I'm proud of.
So are you from a business background?
Yes, my father did have some shops in Chandni Chowk, and we do have a business in Chandni Chowk, New Delhi. We deal in electrical equipments basically.
That's good. Okay, so what are some of the books that you would recommend for anyone planning to start a business? Any kind of books?
Honestly, I don't read much, but if I can certainly suggest you some people who make very good videos, who give amazing lectures. That is how I learn. And if you want, I can say some words on it if you want me to.
Yes, sure, sure.
So first of all, there are a lot of courses from MIT wherein you will get to listen to ignite minds all across the globe, people who are pioneer in entrepreneurship, in financing, getting funding, making teams. So that is how I learned.
I get it. So you learn by
So
watching
there's
YouTube.
this course named MIT Open Wave course. That's how I learned majorly.
Okay, I understand. So how do you hire your team members?
how do I hire my team members? I like to hire people through my network. Uh, I certainly do have blessings of people with me, and my friend circle is enough for me to hire people whom I trust, and that is how I find my co-founders, founders, people working on the executive level positions. And afterwards, there are always consultings you can reach out to hire some uh, associate level people, or maybe managerial, assistant managerial level people. But when it comes to senior executive positions, it is majorly from my own network only.
Okay. So what are the some of the aptitude or personality do you look when you hire someone? Do you hire
If
based
you
on
are doing a
skills or
startup, if you are doing a startup, obviously there would be a list of skills you will be looking for, right? For example, you can't hire someone as a tech co-founder. uh, like, you have to have technical skills, right? Apart from skills, you need to make sure you all are on the same page. You have to have the same vision. You uh, should know what kind of hard work you'll have to put into things in order to achieve your goals. So basically, you need to have a consolidated focus towards things, and you all need to be on the same page. That is the key to building a good team, if you ask me.
so how would you understand whether the person have the same vision like you or not? Because in the
So, uh,
interview,
so
everyone will
when
say that I have the
so
similar vision.
when I start working with people, I never work with them or never give any kind of commitment with them. What I do is, there's this legal document, we legal arrangement we get into, wherein he or he works for with us for a 3 months time, and then he gets into stock vesting options. Do you understand what stock vesting is?
Stock market?
Stock vesting.
No, no, no.
So stock vesting is a term which is majorly used for hiring teams. What it does is, whenever you get to hire a person, first of all, there would be a probation period. It could be 3 months, it could be 6 months. And after 6 months, if you guys decide to work together over a longer period of time, the stocks you will assign to them, or the equities you will assign to them, it will be released to them in 3 years time or 4 years time. That is how you get the loyalty of the people, how you can be sure that they are going to work with you over a longer period of time, at least 4 years of time or 5 years of time. That is how I work. And that's what my idea of startup is. You at least you need to have someone on board with you. If he or she is working on an executive level person, he or she has to be with us for at least 3-4 years time. That is the idea of it. So yes, in about 3 months or 6 months, you can easily get to know if you guys are on the same page or not. And once you are on the same page, once you have found out the person, you lock him in for 4 years with stock vesting options.
So, what would be your advice to anyone who is planning to do a startup?
My advice to anyone who's planning to do the startup, where we lack is, there's a reason why people from IIM, ISBs are able to build successful startups. The reason is, they are taught about the startup ecosystem. Usually when I see around India में usually क्या होता है कि people do have a lot of great ideas, people do have a lot of execution strategies, how they can actually execute and implement all the strategies to build a successful company. What they are not aware of is how startup ecosystem works. So if someone is trying to do a startup, I would strongly suggest, whatever thing you are studying, or whatever in whatever domain you want to make a company and build a company, simultaneously you have to know what startup ecosystem is, how to gather funds, what is the kind of uh, what are the kind of fundings available out there in the market. There are different kind of fundings. There are social fundings, then there are debts, there are corporate investments, angel investments, then there are venture capital funds. You need to know what kind of funds are right for your company. You need to know when do you need those funds, how much you need, and that this is something which you only learn when you read about the startup ecosystem and when you study the startup ecosystem in details. So this is the kind of suggestion I always give to all the people who are aspire to be entrepreneurs.
So can you give some reference where we can study about the startup ecosystem?
Again, enroll into some courses from MIT, Harvard, IIM, then Cambridge, Oxford. There are a number of courses available, and these courses are available for free also. You can easily start out from YouTube, from their official websites, get enrolled in free courses, and slowly, steadily, as you learn, you can enroll yourself into some paid courses also. So it is a process. If you want to learn about the startup ecosystem, my suggestion would be at least read and study about it for at least a year's time before you start your company.
So we can get them from Coursera or Udemy, right?
Yes, you can easily get those courses from Udemy also. And these courses are easily available on YouTube also. If you want, I can certainly send across some links to you if you want.
Yes, sure, you can do that. And one more thing, that is, you see right now in YouTube, many motivational videos say that in order to become an entrepreneur, you have to work 16 to 18 hours per day. So according to your experience, is it true that in order to build a startup, you have to work 18 hours a day?
Depend on the kind of startup you are working on. If you ask me, it completely depends on the kind of startup you are working on. Uh, so yes, but in a tech-based startup, you do have to work for at least 14 hours, 16 hours a day if you are trying to build a successful company, I would say.
Okay, so Ankit, thank you for joining. I guess you're busy driving, so I would end the meeting now, and I would send you the recording after posting it on YouTube.
Wonderful, yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much, Aritra. It was wonderful having a conversation with you. And if you want to reach out, get back to me anytime you want. If you need some help, if someone wants to get some suggestions out of me, you can certainly redirect them to me, and I would love to help anyone I can.
Sure, sure. Okay, good night.